Peep game. So the movie starts off with these 3 intergang members trying to kidnap the mayor for some reason. Clark is such a aura icon at this point that they fear him more than God.
Get Mr. Mayor and his better half out of here before we get trouble from the man upstairs.
Didn't know you was a believer, boss.
That ain't the man upstairs I'm talking about.
And rightfully so, because he packs all of these niggas up in seconds. He strips all of them of their suits and hog ties them in a circle, while Bebo Lebowski, Superman's top glazer, is doing his job. Calls in some Justice League members for the cleanup, and Cyborg figures out that the technology for the suits the criminals were wearing comes from Apocalypse. But Superman has an interview to attend with Lois Lane. Superman has found the transmissions from his biological parents and wants to share this information publicly through the news. And after he wraps that up, he flies her back to the Daily Planet, only to super speed back into the building after he flies away so he can bump into her on the 3rd floor. And Lois is a goddamn freak. Clark remarks that she just met with Superman and he knows what that means.
You had that interview with your super friend. I know what that means.
Before pushing Clark into a broom closet so she can get cracked.
You're always on fire after seeing him. Should I be jealous?
I think it's the tights.
So either that's just strange relationship banter, or Clark is actively okay with being cucked. They have a conversation about Lois meeting his parents, but he cuts that shit short and heads to Victor Stone and tells him that the goons from earlier were probably wearing LexCorp tech. So he spins the block on this nigga Luthor, but it turns out he's been on house arrest this entire time, showing Superman the bedazzled ankle monitor on his leg, which mind you are fake. So this is done out of pure spite and hatred. Clark threatens to violate him and flies away. Now at this very same instance, a group of astronauts are working outside of their ship. Throughout the entire movie, they try to emphasize how much the city truly loves Superman. I say this because the astronauts are having a conversation about how Superman has saved them multiple times before. But at that very moment, a boom tube opens in the middle of space, launching an asteroid directly at Earth in the path of the ship. And then we see those people die. Now Lex has been watching the entire thing, so he sends another team to go search the crash site, which is at the bottom of the ocean, where they run into a couple of Atlanteans who are just there for the same reasons they are. And Lex's team lets the Atlanteans search the crash site first.
Yo, what the f is that?
Stop bitching, Nick. It's a dog.
That's definitely not a dog.
See, I told you, you are just brain dead.
I thought it was a dog.
These niggas do not have a survival instinct between the 4 of them. This entire scene felt like a fucking horror movie, but I will say the fit is immaculate. Now Lex is still watching all of this at base, tells him to roll back the footage of this nigga's grisly murder so he can analyze a little bit more. Doomsday has arrived on Earth and the Justice League is none the wiser. This intergalactic threat is about to destroy your planet, and these niggas are talking about the JLA budget.
I can step up when the Wayne Foundation falls short.
You're kidding, right?
It's not till after Lois met Clark's parents and he starts attacking random people on the street, before Superman even knows that Doomsday exists. But Diana tells Clark to spend some time with Lois, while she sends some other members to deal with the situation. Now, the situation in question is currently staring down a police firing squad, and bros throwing cars and shit around before they came, and usually people who can do that are also bulletproof. When they start firing at him and the gas tank in the back explodes, engulfing Doomsday in flames, they're genuinely surprised. Rightfully so, because gang just walks through the flames and beats the shit out of these officers in the most disrespectful way I've ever seen in my life. Look at bro, he was hiding behind the car after he was done murdering his man, and then cracks him over the head with an entire vehicle. Whole time this Latina is recording it for a World Star, which these niggas love to stand around and watch other people be murdered just for them to be next. Hawkman gets off a lick before Doomsday palms this young lady's face. And I didn't know Hawkman was like that for real, because he was knocking this nigga around for a few minutes. Gave the rest of the Justice League enough time to pull up, but ultimately he gets ragdolled and punched in the mouth. He's caught by Green Lantern, and Hal Jordan thinks that he can do better than Hawkman.
I'm a member of the Green Lantern Corps. We eat monsters like this for breakfast.
This is why Green Lantern stay getting his ass beat in his universe. But before he can get murdered, Hal gets rescued by the Flash. And this shit got me unbelievably confused. Y'all couldn't just jump him? Do y'all have a 1v1 rule? Like, why are you boxing this nigga in a single file line? Because it takes all of a couple seconds for Doomsday to adapt to Barry's speed. Straight punches a man who can think in slow motion before that nigga gets saved by Batman. They've never had a problem with jumping niggas before. What is their issue now? Doomsday has just dismantled like half of the Justice League. People with godlike abilities. abilities. How does Batman think he's going to stall this bitch for even a couple seconds? The answer is throwing bombs and running. Cool thing I will note is that with every Justice League member that Doomsday fights, a piece of his outfit comes off, so they're like slowly revealing the design over time to eventually he fights Superman. Now while the entire league is getting their chests caved in, Clark is on a dinner date with Fine Shit to reveal the fact that he's Superman to Lois Lane. When he gets the news that the rest of the Justice League got fucking folded, so he leaves immediately after telling her, prompting this stupid bitch to follow in a news helicopter. Now when we cut back to the Justice League fighting Doomsday, they have finally got some semblance of their shit together and actually started jumping. Sadly, Victor gets torn limb from limb, and as Martian Manhunter's trying to read Doomsday's mind, he realizes there's not a thought in bro's head. It is just pure violence. Bro pretends like he's about to kill Batman just to break Martian Manhunter's ankles and punches him into a gas station the minute he unphases, causing a huge fiery explosion, the only known weakness to Martians. And after this straight violation, he doesn't even look back. He goes to Metropolis, almost like he can smell the direction of the ops. So Diana, having gotten her ass beat off screen, catches up with Doomsday and proposes a fair one. And we all know the Justice League power scale. It goes Martian Manhunter, Superman, and then Wonder Woman. So if you just packed homeboy up, what does that mean for her? She slides in the clutch to get a couple licks off, but Doomsday keeps manufacturing these haymakers out of thin air, smacking a literal goddess around. There's so much momentum in these swings that he shatters her fucking sword. And this shit was like made by the gods or something, so how the fuck? Gets her on the ground and starts pounding her into the concrete. Gang is such a smoke demon that he plans on ending her life with her own sword, but luckily Superman steps in with some laser vision. They play the heroic ass music. Diana tells Superman to not hold back. This nigga's serious. As Doomsday emerges from the flames, fully unsheathed, and this nigga should have just kept that shit on because his aura points fell massively after I saw that mohawk. But anyway, they start clashing and shit, and it seems like they're equally matched up at first because of this massive ass shockwave, but all of a sudden Doomsday starts shooting laser vision. This heat vision attack sends Clark flying through a building, being one of the only times bro's bled in his entire career, with the entire city watching in fear. And Lex is getting fitted up for some power armor just in case Clark fails, and it looks like he might because he's getting smacked across the city. And this little fight on the bridge is possibly one of the best in the DC animated universe because it completely encapsulates what Superman is about and absolutely what Doomsday is about. While Superman is trying to save a bunch of people on this collapsing bridge due to their fight, Doomsday is constantly interrupting him, completely unfazed to everything around him except Superman. He's not even trying to kill them, he just doesn't care that they exist. He's violating Clark left and right as he's desperately trying to redirect the fight away from civilians. He ultimately decides to pull Doomsday through a section of the bridge, destroying it, but leading the entire altercation into the water instead. Doomsday keeps throwing him across the city, so he eventually ends back up in a crater, with Lois Lane flying overhead to report on the scene. So he throws Superman's limp body at the fucking helicopter, destroying the propellers, forcing Clark to manually land it on top of this skyscraper where he has a brief conversation with Lois, when Doomsday leaps from the ground onto a skyscraper. And again, because Superman is a ore farming champion, he laser visions off the stabilizer to the helicopter and uses it as a bat to swat Doomsday away, all before bro could even land. He says his last words to Lois and goes back to work performing an Injustice Super on Doomsday. Yet he's the one who steps out of the rubble. Lex tries to take his opportunity to save the day and be loved by Metropolis, but he didn't expect this thing to have laser vision. So Doomsday tears through his suit and almost turns this thing into a fish fillet. Clark saves him in the nick of time, and of course Lex is angry, and gang goes right back into the action, knocks this nigga into the Hall of Justice, and the hands that they're throwing is causing so much of a shockwave that it destroys the entire building, maybe even the city block. Yet Superman is still getting horrendously violated. Chokes this nigga with his own cape and then curb stomps him into the pavement on live television. Also, has none of like the League members recovered by now? Nobody gonna tag out? Once Superman is on the brink of death, Lois tries to intervene to stop Clark from getting killed, just attracting attention to her, so Clark is forced to get off the ground and snap this thing's neck with a super punch, but at the cost of his own life, because he was impaled on the spikes that were intended for Lois Lane. If she wasn't here, Clark could have gotten that dub. If he wasn't absolutely forced to hit him at that precise moment, he wouldn't have been impaled. But as Clark lays there dying, Lois tells him that she loves him too. And it cuts to the entire city mourning at the funeral of Superman. This nigga Lex has a neck brace on that we later found out is fake, so he's doing this strictly for clout purposes. And everybody gives some words about how much of a symbol of hope Superman was. And at the very end of the movie, Jimmy Olsen tells Lois Lane that she's gonna want to see this as she goes to Superman's grave to see he's still alive. Like and subscribe if you want me to make a video on the return of Superman, and watch this video if you want to see Superman and Batman get jumped by the entire US government.
I was never book smart, money smart, makes me more intelligent.